Welcome to Commander Pop Culture, a place to gather magical information with some laughs, might I add. Hello everyone, you're here to see this Massacre Girl Gnome Killer. I call it Stats Matter because your whole goal is to make all your cards cantrip. As exciting as that sounds, how does one do that? You make every card give minus stats to other people's toughness. That's what this deck is full of. Some of your better cards that you will have in here are your board wipes because they also all make toughness decrease on a large scale. Massacre is one. If I control a swamp and someone has a plains, I could actually cast this for free and give all creatures -2/-2. Hopefully that will swoop up multiple creatures, and then whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, if its toughness was less than 1, draw a card. I'm changing its toughness so it goes down. Your board wipes like that should draw you multiple cards and catch people with their pants down. I do have plenty of single target removal spells that will at the very least replace themselves. So I got Urge to Feed, Ulcerate, Tragic Slip, Tragic Fall, Last Gasp, Grasp of Darkness, Dismember, Defile, Dark Blast, Bloodline Culling kind of is like a dual board wipe / single target removal spell. All of those cards, so at least 11 to 12 of them will kill something of your opponent's and replace itself. That's a pretty sick deal. Some more value pieces I have in here is I have Drana Callistra Bloodchief. It's a mana sink that not only boosts herself +X+O, but gives a target creature -0/-X.
It's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
And that will also trigger your commander. Dread Presence. Now this is a little bit of an exciting card because it cantrips off of your lands, but also because your commander gives your creatures Wither, you can deal 2 damage to any target, any i.e. creatures, kill them, and then you gain 2 life. Because Wither specifically says damage, it doesn't specify non-combat damage. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of black creatures that do non-combat damage worth you playing, so I'm only playing one of those, but it's fun nonetheless. Drivnod's in here that double your Massacre Girl triggers. Great Merchant, it's just value because you're in a mono black deck. Harvester of Souls also doubles up on creature deaths. It also counts your opponent's creatures. That's a pretty sweet deal. Karavik the Spiteful, Knight of Souls Betrayal. They give a blanket effect. If you are against token decks, they are going to struggle terribly against you, and or just creature decks in general, because you're going to be very well equipped to answer all of those. Engineered Plague and Plague Engineer to answer tribal decks. Kothofed's awesome because it triggers when any permanent is put into the graveyard. You draw a card, gain a life. Massacre Girl is just a board wipe. Massacre Worm, you get to drain people to death with this. Because the abilities are separate, the bottom ability is static, so every creature you die from the ETB and every creature beyond will drain them for 2 life, so you're going to be accelerating the game. More opportunists. A lot of your single target removal is instant speed, so you could stagger deaths and draw a card every end step. Something I forgot to mention is every card is $5 or less. With the exception of Necro Skitter, I couldn't pass up on it. It's $6.89, but basically whenever a creature with a -1/-1 counter on it dies, you get to steal it. Phyrexian Juggernaut, a thought I had was throwing in all of the Infect Creatures, because if a creature should block Phyrexian Juggernaut, it will get 10 -1/-1 counters put on it. But I didn't want to put any of the other ones in here because they're fairly weak, and people will just not block and take their plink damage of 1 to 2 poison counters. So I was like, forget it. I'll just play the biggin that will make people think twice. Do you want 5 poison counters on you, or do you want something to die and let the guy draw his card? If you wanted to include the rinky-dink Infect Creatures, I guess the nice part about them is it forces your opponents to trade down, because you like I said, you're doubling up on those counters, but then you're decreasing the card quality of your deck, so think twice before you make that decision. I highly recommend you don't do that. Skin Render, it's a removal on a stick. Haven't had a chance to play one of these in a long time, but it's like an all-star in limited formats, and pretty excited to play it again. Splitting Dilophosaurus, it's on attack, puts a -1/-1 counter on something, and then creatures with neg counters on them can't block. You have an open avenue to beat on people. And then the rest of the deck is just stuff to protect your commander, some mana rocks, I did put Nightmare Lash and Lash Wraith in the deck because it just seemed like really low-hanging fruit. You're playing a ton of swamps and you can make your commander a lethal attacker and just make people block your commander with Wither and keep drawing over and over again, at least every combat. And then there's a reanimation package in case something should happen. You're not playing a lot of creatures, and that means all your creatures are worth reanimating. Keep the fun going. And that's the end of the deck. I hope those of you who are excited to play Massacre Girl Known Killer are excited to see this and give this deck a try. I made it affordable for everyone to play at $89. I'm gonna post the deck list in the description below. And then something that I noticed is that I took a rather unique approach to this deck build. Everyone else is playing the Infect thing that I was describing. I went with a more of a control build, and I think it's more consistent this way.
I will massacre you!
Everyone that's making these decks are brewing right now because you can't see deck lists on EDH Rec yet. So everyone's just going into it blindly, and all you have to go off of is what everyone else is building. When I compare and contrast, there's only 79 other new Massacre builds out there, and from what I can tell, I'm significantly unique and apart from everybody else. So go ahead, take a look at their decks, compare and contrast, see what you like, what you don't like, but I think I got a really solid list for all of you. So everyone take care now, have a great night, bye.